Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to Tarqaron. If you're new to the channel, we're doing every episode of Black Mirror. Right now, we're doing it between seasons of Survivor. The two, they're very interchangeable. A lot of overlap with fans. Season of Survivor, season of Black Mirror, season of Survivor, and so forth. We're on episode 3 of season 3.
We are.
And we just watched Playtest last time, and it was so far our favorite episode to date, potentially.
Why are you, some random Toys R Us employee, telling me about Black Mirror, huh?
Well, I can't help but relive the glory days. I just don the uniform every now and then. This is actually my brother's Toys R Us uniform. I was desperate for costumes. I was like, oh well, that's actually a quirky, simple costume to wear.
I ran out last minute and grabbed and went and found this at a Halloween store, and then some of the props and stuff too. I already had this headband because
I do have a pretty good one in store for next week though.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I don't even know what I'm doing next week. I might just rehash an old one. Mm-hmm. Not an old one from this year, but an old one from another year.
That's
I don't
fair.
know. We'll find out.
I did one. I'll probably do like one old one every year mixed with new ones.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
So yeah, previously
Cool.
we watched Playtest. So it was the best episode to date. I think we'll always be able to. I think once we're done every episode, we'll be able to reevaluate. It's interesting. Whenever I looked at my favorite Black Mirror episodes, this Playtest was never like above White Christmas for me. But now rewatching it, I kind of feel like it is.
Yeah.
But maybe a little bit more time, we can reflect on it again.
Perhaps.
But
I mean, I don't know. I
way,
feel like
high marks.
The White Christmas is one that I mean, it makes a good unsettling Christmas time thing to watch. So I don't know. We'll see.
And off screen, the other time we were talking about how the rankings it's got it all over the place. I looked at a couple rankings and there was so widely different from everyone. Like there was one I saw that was number 1 on one list and second to last in another. It's all over the place.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy
cool,
how. Yeah, I mean, well, I think to me it sort of speaks to the quality of the show that it can have such wildly varying takes on it. It is interesting because we've been pretty we've been
in agreement
on the same page. Yeah, pretty much the whole time.
We'll see that. I think as we get through season 3 and then season 4, there will be a lot more all of them are really good consideration for being some of the best episodes to me. Because I was just thinking about that, wow, if these episodes coming up, I might put them above Playtest, but that means White Christmas is going to be falling lower and lower if I keep putting more episodes, and it's kind of surprising. I always thought White Christmas is one of my favorites, so
yeah,
it's always.
Oh, we can always reevaluate like we do with all of our Survivor stuff. Where we do reevaluate at the end.
In Black Mirror, within not nearly as long, we'll be able to actually look back on every episode and have a comprehensive look.
Yeah.
So. As always, you can click the link in the description to see the highlights of a reaction and come back afterwards for a discussion. Okay?
Do it up. All right.
There you have it. Shut up and dance.
Yeah. Shut up and dance.
Thoughts?
It's really good. Most of these have been. I don't think I would rank it quite as high as some of the other ones that are on this list so far. But that was still a really great episode. Mm-hmm. I really liked. I don't know if the twist was all that effective at the end, because it's I already kind of had an inkling of it, just because there was. It felt like there was some. It's almost like they sort of hinted at it so much with the way he sort of interacted with the little girl at the restaurant. And then I was already kind of getting some that's maybe a little much there. It was subtle enough that it wasn't oh, he's definitely a creeper, but me thinking in the back of my mind, I'm okay, I have this tidbit of information, because they don't just show you something that doesn't mean anything, and that never came back, that idea of him being really overly nice.
He's just a nice guy.
He's maybe a little overly nice to the little girl. So I don't know. I don't necessarily know how well that particular twist works, or worked. But I will say that like this might sound horrible, but like I kind of don't blame the hacker for doing that. Like, yes, it's sick and cruel to make them do all those things, but like you're the worst kind of human being
Well, yeah, that's like
if
the
you're
whole
into that.
point of how they structure the episodes, so that you're like feeling sympathy for this person the whole time,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then at the end they kind of pull that out
It's
from under you.
it is a little more, I would say it's maybe more effective than White Bear doing that.
Right, similar. Yeah,
It's a similar kind of thing to that. Um,
because
it's maybe
you
better than, and I think, sorry.
just seeing them go through it is cool. Yeah, like you were saying throughout, like you feel the tension. You don't know what's happening next. You're just going with each text
Right.
as they
It,
roll with it
it's
too.
like the thing that I liked, yeah, I think I liked the most about the episode. It wasn't just focused completely on him. It was the both of them together. They had an unbelievable, like, they were for like I would say, yeah, it's basically the middle chunk, the middle act of the show. They're together and they're just like, they're excellent. Like they play with each other so well. He's just like a nervous kid, and which is amazing because it's like they're literally just thrust together. They have no idea they have no idea who each other are. Yeah, and they're forced together by this by this mysterious, who knows what, hacker group, I guess. The trolling hacker group.
Yeah, with the troll face, the product of
With the
its
troll
time,
face.
truly.
A product of,
It's
it was well before this
truly,
episode
truly
came
not a
out.
futuristic technology in here at all. You
No.
literally had the troll face involved, so it's like just focused on the hackers and taking advantage of them in that way.
I mean, there's an interesting it's almost like a game they're playing though, with like all of these. Yeah, it is a lack of technology, but it's like using simple items. I mean, a gun, I guess, is a little beyond simple, but like it's almost like forcing everyone to do public acts of shame without it being like overly obvious that that's what they're doing until there's a bank robbery.
Yeah, I wonder what the other people went through, like the woman that we saw
Yeah.
just plant the keys in the on the wheel, like what else they ended up having to do,
Mm.
and yeah, because we saw how it escalated for the main two characters.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
the
mean,
people doing this, they just wanted to see like two pedophiles fight to the death at the end. Is that what they wanted?
I guess,
Just,
yeah.
like, set up
I guess
this show
so.
and I'm gonna watch this shit,
Yeah.
which is like, okay, yeah, pedophiles are awful, but also it's awful to just watch people fight to the death too. So
Yeah, like that's ultimately that's really messed up to see people kill each other, but
and so it's like one of those Black Mirror episodes where you just feel bad at the end of it. There's no good
yeah,
outcome. And
not
then
really, yeah.
the freaking troll face, like you did everything we
'Cause-
told you to do, and we're still gonna share it anyway.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's like, wow. You kind of unfortunately expect that, but
Varying degrees of how bad the things they were doing,
yeah.
from like affairs to racist emails to pedophilia. So
Mm.
it's a whole spectrum there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the one guy on the motorcycle did exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounded like it was sort of hard to tell. I couldn't really understand what she was yelling at him. She said something like, "You're a pervert" or something. So
Something
maybe
about
he was
pervert.
just like,
We
yeah,
just got a bunch of pedophiles in the mix.
maybe. I don't know if he would be a pedophile. Maybe he was just like sleeping around with a bunch of people, or I don't, who knows. But because I felt like if there was a pedophile too, then they would have had him fight.
Worse stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many
So-
people. Is it just the people we saw involved, or are they the whole other chain of network of
Yeah. Who knows? But-
yeah, very effective. Like you said, it's simple but effective.
Yeah, it's simple stories like that are really engaging because it just gets to rest on the shoulders of the acting performances, right? You don't necessarily have to be sort of like puzzled together exactly what's going on because you're just along for the ride as much as they are. Sometimes those are really great to have too.
Mhm.
And I thought both the leads were great in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like fantastic performances by both of them. So yeah, it was Kenny I can't remember the guy's name, but the
I don't
adult
remember
man.
either. But it's
But yeah,
it's interesting because like if you go with the perspective in the beginning, this like he just masturbated and they were just watching him masturbate to porn, and then it's like you have to run through that in your head. It's like, well, is it that bad? And then you kind of justify it. It's like, oh, he is young, so it would be
yeah,
embarrassing.
he's got the bullies at work, and he's got like his little sister and all that. And then it's like, yeah, and then ultimately when that twist happens, you're just like, ugh. Yeah, it makes you feel like, oh.
Yeah, but it's like
I mean, I guess it was bad that they had you do that, but I kind of sort of don't feel bad for you. Like,
yeah, it's almost like it
at the
makes you
end,
feel weird about it because you're like kind of
yeah,
you're rooting for them as you go along.
yeah, because yeah,
The guy is
you don't want him. You ultimately you don't want him to get away with it.
yeah,
That would have been horrible if he got away with it.
yeah,
So, yeah,
and the other guy who plays Bronn in Game of Thrones, he's great. He's obviously, I mean, he's not innocent by any means, but it's also not nearly as bad. So it's like you can kind of still sympathize with him to some extent, but
hmm
he also got what's coming for it too. They all got what's coming for it,
yeah. Ultimately,
and he
so
kind of got out of it like fairly easy. You didn't even have to rob the bank, so he was
no,
kind
yeah,
of
he
like
just was the
driving.
getaway guy. Yeah, I don't know how he destroyed the car though. That was my that was the thing I.
Destroy
How did
it
you do
by
it?
hand, slowly.
We have to dismantle it piece by piece. We're gonna be here. We're watching. I mean, I really liked in the car. I mean, every little wrinkle in the sort of in the story was always really interesting. Where like the woman he knows, like oh, he's at the gas station, the petrol station, and there's the woman he knows that's there,
Hmm.
and then she's like, oh, I'll who's this, and then they have to like make up a story, and then she's like, oh, well, I'm going that way. Like that's where I live, so drop me off there. It'd be terrible to have to take the bus. She's basically inviting herself along, but she's like a friend, so it's like it kind of makes sense. And yeah, all that stuff, and then eventually the guy was just like, screw this, and he he just peeled out. He just started going like crazy, and the where he almost got T-boned by two two cars was a pretty impressive move. Yeah.
It's interesting, yeah, like the crimes they have them do is robbing the bank. So
Mm.
like I guess they picked a crime that's not like severe enough to where they would just be like, no, it's not even worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, for the guy who's freaking a pedophile, is anything he'll do anything. Obviously, he's fought that dude to the death. But the other guy,
Yeah.
there probably was some moral breaking point, right, where he would be like, okay, I'll have to deal with the
Right.
consequences.
Right.
He was fine with the robbing the bank part. 'Cause, yes, he'd just be the getaway driver, and it's not much terrible on his conscience at that point.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
But as a concept, it's really cool. Like this, being blackmailed, and you have this mystery person telling you to do things.
Yeah. I mean it's real. It's a scary thought. You know. It's about
How
scary
much
thought.
would you do to avoid them sharing you masturbating to regular porn with all of your contacts?
I mean,
Would you be willing to commit crimes to prevent that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Because yeah, it's embarrassing,
It's obviously
and
not
it's
the
like it's
same. We don't. I'm
awful. But
assuming
like
we don't have any super incriminating things to be blackmailed for. So
it's like okay, yes, it's like pastor's son has watched porn and masturbated to it, and it's like okay, but a lot of people do that.
hmm.
Like I wouldn't be alone in doing that.
The other guy was
Like
trying to like say like, oh, it'll be plastered everywhere. You'd never get rid of it. It'd be attached to your name
yeah,
on the internet. That kind of
right.
thing.
He was really trying to pressure him to do it there
Yeah.
because he was like desperate. I mean, there's a degree that that's true, but like I, no one would care. In a case like that, everyone would care
Yeah.
because of course they would. I mean, yeah, that he deserves to
Yeah.
get
These are
arrested.
all like morally not so good people.
Mm,
So we can't quite relate to that positioning. But
yeah. Which is interesting because like that's the twist, right? Because we know most of the details of what they did, but we don't know all of them. And that's kind of the ultimate kicker. Because that recontextualizes the whole episode, which that's kind of interesting actually. It's
yeah,
clever.
and
I don't know necessarily if it's the most effective thing, but like it works. It works with the tone of the episode of it being like a bleak sort of everything. I really liked the color tone of this episode. It felt very like cold, and it's like both cold and chilling and also like sweat inducing at the same time, if that makes sense. Like there's like a cold sweat basically is kind of like is sort of how I would describe the sort of coloring, the just general color tone of the episode. So
yeah, that's true.
yeah, yeah,
So it's like
it was
you're
really
never feeling good at any point of the movie, right? Like we'll crack
mm,
a couple jokes, but it's like
not even at the beginning really. It still felt weird. Like it felt weird the whole time. So
yeah. So it's one of those episodes. I know it's like hard to watch for some people. Like
yeah,
and having the full context, like knowing how it ends up, it's kind of weird to watch it back to.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is still
I
it's
bet.
good writing. That the fact that dude showed a little interaction with the child, sort of it's like it's supposed to be like he's a nice guy, you know, it's just like
Like, oh, he's a
showing
nice
he's an
guy, but it's
innocent
like,
little guy, you know, and
mm,
they show him being picked on by the other guys, so you're already sympathizing with
yeah,
him.
yeah. But
So all right, how do we rank it with the others? So far we have Playtest, White Christmas, Entire History of You, 15 Million Merits, Nosedive, Be Right Back, White Bear, the National Anthem, and the Waldo Moment.
this is like a right around nosedive for me. I think.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's above or below.
that is tough. I think I'm right there with you actually again, above or below there. I mean, the Nosedive, you're not just feeling awful at the end of it. It's like a better one on a
Yeah,
rewatch.
it is better.
This is like a
It's a better feeling on a
it's
rewatch.
like a
Yeah.
Black Mirror experience this episode, but it's like you don't want to
Yo,
really
for
experience
sure.
it
Yeah,
again. And
yeah. So
Nosedive does have cool like funny moments and like that cool
more lighthearted,
monologue at the end.
and like yes, they're in prison at the end, or they're in jail. They're not in prison. They're in jail at the end, but they are they're it's like they're finally able to like see each other and express each other. This character we don't know and the character we followed this whole time are able to finally express how they really feel about things, which makes it kind of a strangely happy ending. This is not a
Yeah,
happy end. I mean, it's a happy ending, I guess, to a certain degree. The everyone's crimes and evils were brought to light
yeah,
to people that,
which like a feel good episode doesn't necessarily make it better, but
yeah.
because I mean we have higher ones that are not feel good episodes. You know, Playtest
What,
is not a feel good episode, but
no, White Christmas is not really a feel good episode either.
so I don't know what. Hmm,
Real tough,
it's tough.
honestly.
I'd say below, above.
I think I'm gonna. I think I from recency bias. I think I would put it above. We can think about that maybe next week.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I would, I'll agree with that.
So
So
I think it was a. It was very. It was simple. Nosedive was complex. It had a lot of world building, and it did a really good job with all of that. But I think the simplicity of the story and like how well it built the tension, like it was just you were like hanging on every text basically. Like the scene where the lady's talking and they're just getting repeated text messages to be like, "You're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way." I'm just like, "Oh my god!" Like my gut is like clenching up. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so awful." Um, yeah,
yeah, it's so different tonally from Nosedive, and it's like that one's
yeah,
overly positive to the point where it's like off-putting. But
great.
so that puts it at fifth out of the 10 episodes we watched now, right in the middle.
So right square in the middle.
Which is
That's
not,
about right, I
yeah,
would
and
think.
that's a good sign for the series if if that's your halfway mark, and we both
Yeah,
have
yeah, that was a good, really good
things to
episode.
say.
So, yeah,
And
yeah.
I know we have some great episodes to look forward to still, and it'll be fun to talk about. Next week's episode will be interesting to talk about as well. All right, so come back next week for another episode of Black Mirror. And in the meantime, what video would you recommend our viewers go watch now?
You know, people should really go and check out. People should go and watch our review of. No, they should go. They should go check out top 10 films that define us.
10 films that define us.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, go check it out.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Yeah, it is a classic. It's a good one.
Give them a tease. What's one film that defines you?
One film that defines me is It's a Wonderful Life.
One film that defines me is The Naked Gun. All right.
All right.
All right. So go check that out, and you see the 8 other ones that we listed that define us. All right.
Very
Subscribe
cool.
to the
Very
channel,
cool.
like the video, leave a comment, hit the notification bell, click the links in the description for our social media. All right.
All right. Sounds good.
Or else we'll leak all of your information that we have on you.
I will put this bomb tag on your ass.
Now you have to take that bomb tag and place it at the drop pin location.
That's right.
All right.
And await further instructions.
That's right.